Um, I'm really not doing too much analyzation right now, but I'm looking kind of like what are the good dog spots, so I can later make some picks on like who are going to be my dogs for this week. I already got three in mind, but I think I need to get two more dogs on this card, maybe three more dogs. But I currently got three dogs already. I'm not sure if they're locked in, but I have three dogs that stand out to me, and then I'm trying to get maybe two or three more. And that's what I'm mainly going to do in this video. But yeah, I have officially went live all 7 days this week. I mean, I bet every single week. Am I say I'm like a big better? I'm not. Will I ever be a truly big better? I don't think so. I'm not as far as big better. I'm talking about a person that is like betting is like their life. Nah, I could see myself making a lot of money, that life changing money betting and stuff. But as far as like somebody that's like I got to bet every single thing, like I'm betting every single MMA fight. I'm betting horse racing. I'm betting children lacrosse and girls volleyball. Like nah, but yeah, I do bet every single UFC fight though, or at least 99% of them, like cards. But yeah, healthy amount of betting, healthy. I'm not a degenerate. But yeah, officially have went live all 7 days this week. I don't know about next week. I might go live like three times next week, but I'm gonna still go live next week. But I was just trying to make it a goal to go live 7 days a week. Well, 7 days this week, and I did that. So that's a week clap, but that's a clap for myself. I officially went 7 days straight going live. But yeah, with this one right here, I'm gonna be looking at the card and trying to yeah, analyze it a little bit. Try to look for dog spots. And just in general look like this kind of look over the card. This gonna probably be like a short live, maybe like 40 minutes, maybe an hour. So first fight, Unessi Dubin versus Carly Judice. And you know, I'm pretty much probably gonna pick Judice. Again, this is not a prediction video. You'll see when it's a prediction video. This is just an analyze. This is just a video of me analyzing, trying to find weak spots on the card. That's all this is. Me trying to find weak spots on the card. I might see a weak spot, then I might let it go back and say, yeah, this is not. I'm still gonna stick with the pick that's already this pick, even though I think it's a weak spot. But this really just me trying to find the weak spots so I could better try to gauge like what dogs to pick, what dogs not to pick, and what favorites to fade and what stuff like that. So this is what this is right here. But yeah, Unessi Dubin versus Carly Judice. And Judice is too big of a favorite. That's what stands out for me. Like she's 3-2 versus an undefeated 6-0 Dubin. And Judice is like a what minus 300, minus 350 favorite or something currently, which is crazy. Maybe even more. Yeah, let's look at the fight odds. I think she was like minus 350. She's 3-2, but she's minus 350 versus a 6-0 fighter. And I understand. I watched her fights. I know she's skilled. She should be the more skilled striker. Should be for sure. Should be. Keyword should be. But she not really hasn't really hurt no one inside the cage yet. No finishes. She's a volume fighter. So if she does win, it seems like it's gonna be a decision for if Judice does win. And you can't trust the judges too much, especially the 3-2 fighter who already lost 2 split decisions in close fights. And as far as Dubin's side, like she hasn't looked exactly so skilled. Matter of fact, she's a minus 425 favorite. Or a minus 425 favorite. A 3-2 fighter who's minus 425 is ridiculous. This is definitely a dog or pass fight. Like I said, I might not pick Dubin, but if you betting on Judice, you're stupid. You're literally stupid if you're betting on Judice. Even the bet hits, you're stupid for betting on Judice at this value. Because there's definitely better picks, you know, throughout the year, throughout the card at a better value than people lining up to put money on a minus 425 Judice in this one. But I expect this line to come down a whole lot. I think it's, you know, because the fight, you know, we just got off these last couple fights. Yeah, we just got off these last couple fights yesterday. So people haven't really started betting yet. Or the crowd hasn't really started betting yet. But I expect Judice's number to come down a lot. But either way, her is a favorite. I really don't like her at all as a big favorite here. You know, betting wise. Prediction wise, I might still pick her. But betting wise, I'm definitely not touching Judice. I wouldn't touch Judice at minus 200. I still would not touch Judice at that value. But minus 425 is just a flat out joke for Judice to be minus 425 coming in here 3-2 versus what 6-0, 5-0 fighter. No, yeah, 6-0 fighter Dubin. And Dubin's still like weird in a way because we haven't really got to see Dubin really fight minutes, and she's still young, so she can come in here and look like a better fighter every single time she comes in here. She's 28, she's 6-0. She hasn't really had that many minutes. Again, could be a good or bad thing. We don't really know the extent to her game, and she was coming from a country where she really didn't get that much ability to have the best training and best nutrition. So after winning her fighting it off the Contender Series, she might be a whole new fighter. And I know there was a video of her trying to do some drills, and she looked very unathletic. But in the end of the day, it's a lot of male fighters who look very unathletic, but they are a great fighter. Like Dricus Du Plessis don't like no great athlete. I mean, physically he looks good and stuff, but as far as his fighting style, he looks sloppy as a mug, but he wins. Juliana Penn looks sloppy as a mug, but she wins. There's a lot of fighters that are very sloppy, uncoordinated, but they find ways to win. Gaethje, when he's doing a lot of these drills, like little footwork drills, look very sloppy and gimpy, but solid fighter. So it's still too early to really gauge Dubin. And Dubin's like, she's a big underdog for no reason, and she has a big chance to come here and have like a big chance to come here and show so much improvement. And just making this fight competitive already is a big dog would give Dubin a great chance to win this one by like another split decision loss for Judice. But yeah. Am I picking again? This is not a pick, but right here. But I would definitely say don't bet on Judice. That's why I would definitely tell anyone watching don't bet on Judice, especially not at those numbers. You think about her, just don't just leave that fight alone altogether. Then right after there's another fight, that's got question marks. Capoeira is like no, Capoeira's the underdog. I think Josiane Nunes is like a minus 225 favorite. I think in this one. No, she's a minus 205 favorite in this one. Because she is the bigger fighter, or she's coming from the bigger weight class, or she's at the bigger weight class. I think Nunes did fight like a couple fights at 45, and she has had fights at 35, whereas Capoeira has been, I think, all at 125. So it would seem that Josiane Nunes is the bigger fighter, but then you look at the stats. She is younger. She's 5 years younger than Capoeira, but she's 5 inches shorter. Like she's the one fighting at the higher weight classes. 45 and 35, but she's giving up 5 inches of height. So Capoeira will be the taller fighter. She's coming from the smaller weight class. I think she's giving up 2 inches of reach, but she's coming from the smaller weight class, dealing with faster, more technical fighters, and she actually has a height advantage here. And Capoeira, one thing she has shown throughout her career is toughness. And both of them have similar, I guess, losses where they have really only lost by getting taken down and controlled for the most part. That's how they lost. So I feel like they're very similar fighters. And for it to be like a big favorite in this one, it's a little bit crazy. I feel like it should be like minus 115, minus 110, or like whatever, minus 15, plus 110. I feel like it should be that type of vibe here. But the odds kind of have Nunes at like a 2-1 favorite right now. Again, is this my pick, Capoeira, right now? I don't know. But this is kind of me looking at, this is definitely, I feel like a weak spot on the card that people are probably going to overlook a little bit. But Capoeira is definitely very live here. And one thing about Capoeira, I've been wanting her to get kicked out of the UFC for a long time after that whole eye gouging incident. But she finds a way to stick around the UFC, finds a way to get wins here and there. So I would not be surprised if she comes in again and finds another way to get a win and stay around in the UFC 3 more years. She's definitely very live in this one because it's not like Nunes is. If anything, I feel like Capoeira probably the one that will have the better grappling. I don't really expect either to have great grappling. But I feel like Capoeira will be the one that will probably have the better grappling. I haven't really seen any good grappling from Nunes at all. I've seen a little bit from Capoeira, like a little bit. And also, again, she's coming from a more technical weight class. She's coming up to 135 now, so her chin will probably be even better than it was at the lighter weight class. Probably have more power than she had at lighter weight class. Be faster, quicker, sharper, dealing with a slower fighter who she'll have a 5-inch height advantage over. And I think even though neither of their striking is particularly clean, I feel like Capoeira definitely has much cleaner striking. Well, I'm not going to say much cleaner, but she has notably cleaner striking. Not much, but it's notably cleaner on Capoeira's side. And I think low competition Capoeira fought overall is notably better. Because she also had, I think her debut in the UFC, she got dogged out by Valentina Shevchenko. And that's obviously just a different level and whatnot. But Capoeira is definitely live in this one. Again, not a pick, but Capoeira is live. Dubin is very live. The Dubin odds are ridiculous Calculated odds are kind of reasonable, but it should not be that big. Lima versus Barres. I think Barres got a shot, but not nothing I would respect too much. I think Lima should win here. There's a bad trend for undefeated fighters, but it's not like Lima's going there with a veteran. He's going there with a guy who has less experience than him. A guy who I think was like 36, 37. Yeah, 36 years old. Decent fighter, but nothing special about him. I feel like Lima should be the winner. I feel like he should have a huge grappling advantage. Should even have a striking advantage. Just gotta respect the power enough so he don't get caught with nothing. Other than that, he should be able to win this fight everywhere. He should be able to outpace him. Should be able to Matter of fact, Barros definitely has notable questionable cardio. I feel like he has lost just by every third round. Lima doesn't have the greatest cardio either, but again, I feel like Lima kind of slows down. And if that's a place that you will want to take advantage of Lima, and you yourself have bad cardio, and you yourself are like 36, 37, and Lima's like what 31, 30. Matter of fact, Lima's only 26, so Lima's still young, still can make big improvements. I feel like Barros is who he is, and who he is not really a particularly phenomenal fighter at the end of the day. But yeah, that one you pretty much heard my pick right there for that one because I'm definitely picking Lima in that one. Definitely, definitely picking that guy in that one. Lima in that one. All right, all right, all right, all right. Josias Musasa versus Carlos Vera. Musasa's here. I think line on that's still actually pretty decent. Nah, that's not decent. Minus 620, 25. But I think that's a very safe play. The line might not be there yet, but maybe when the props open up, you could probably get a stoppage or something at like minus 150, maybe minus 200, maybe a knockout. But yeah, Masasa's, I like him a lot in this one to beat Vera. It's another case where you got a young, talented fighter, and he's coming off a big win over one of Rob's teammates in a very competitive fight. He defended takedowns well. He took the kicks well. Took the best his opponent had against him. Defended a lot of takedowns, landed some big shots of his own. Won a very close fight. Now you're going there with a guy in Carlos Vera, who's up there in age, primarily pretty one-dimensional. And Musasa showed that he could defend takedowns from a real legit high-level striker and grappler. I think this guy was a Georgian. So defending takedowns from this guy should be pretty easily. I said pretty easily. Should be pretty easy. And I think Musasa could get a stoppage here and should get a stoppage here. And I think he's only going to be even better than he was on the Contender Series. So, better than he was on the Contender Series. Got all he needs to defeat Vera. So, Musasa's a good spot. The value not really great, but I feel like he's a pretty sturdy pick here. So, value don't really matter too much when you pretty much got a pick you could lock in on. Not say it's a lock, but you could lock in on it. Like, you could put money on it, anchor it a little bit in a couple parlays, and feel pretty comfortable, put him in that. And yeah, Musasa's good. Lima's pretty good. Diyar Nergozi versus Brinson Ribeiro. And yeah, Diyar, what's up, Henry? But yeah, Diyar Nergozi versus Brinson Ribeiro. Really, in this one, all you got to worry about, really, in my opinion, maybe Nergozi might low-key have terrible takedown defense. Maybe. We don't know. Because that can always happen. But I think Nergozi should have good takedown defense, I think. And I don't feel like Ribeiro has shown great offensive grappling. But the main threat from Ribeiro's, those wild swings, maybe he'll catch with some of that power. That's the big thing. Maybe he'll catch with some of the leg kicks. Maybe that's it. Or maybe Nergozi, with his tendency to wink all the time and blink all the time, maybe he'll be blinking and get caught. That's the concern. But other than that, I don't really have too much concerns about Ribeiro. I think Nergozi should be able to dog out Ribeiro. And let me see what the odds at on that one. But again, I might well say this is definitely a pick. Like Nergozi a pick, Musasa's a pick, Lima's a pick. Some other ones, I haven't settled in on, but those ones obviously are picks. I'm not saying the method of how I'm picking them yet, because this is not the prediction videos. I'll say 9 million times. Somebody will say, where's the timestamps? This is not a video for timestamps. It is literally a live stream for me to rap and ramble and kind of analyze things. So there's not going to be no timestamps on this once it's done. If anything, it might not even be up long after it's done. It might be like a day, maybe two, and then I'll probably private it or something. And then a day after that, I'll probably drop the actual predictions. And whatever case after that. But yeah, I'm not going to talk too much about the ones that, I think should win. Like the ones that I'm actually already locked in. I'm not going to talk about those ones yet. Too much. I did that a lot already, but I'm not going to try to do that as much. Sam Hughes versus Stephanie Luciano. I'm definitely leaning more so Luciano, but Sam Hughes is definitely a live dog here. Luciano really up until recently had really no takedown defense. But in her last fight, she showed improved takedown defense versus an opponent who in the past had great success taking her down. Like I think they fought to a draw. I think on the contender series. Yeah, Talita Alencar, they went to a draw in the contender series. She gave up a lot of takedowns. Then later on, she kind of rallied in that fight and went to a draw. Then in the rematch, I don't think Alencar was able to get any takedown. So you clearly see the young fighter. She's probably like 22 years old. Well, she's 25. Well, however young she is. In 2023, she was closer to 22. By the way, it's like 25 now. Then we saw when she rematched her, and like it wasn't even any fights between. Like she fought her, they went to a draw. They rematched in 2024. Like no fights in between, and her takedown defense improved a whole lot. So she's young. She's making improvements. Sam Hughes is damn near 500, and so it seems like Luciano should be able to bridge that gap. But given how like pretty much every card so far has been like 50% dogs biting. Like dogs have been biting crazy this year, and the last card was no different. So last card, 5 dogs bit. The prior card, 5 dogs bit. I think prior to that, 4 dogs bit. So it's been 4 or 5 dogs biting every single card this year. So dogs have to biting heavy, and you got to be concerned if you're going to be like trying to bet like a Luciano here or pick a Luciano here. Like again, I'm not saying I'm picking this or that yet, but you got to be a little bit concerned here. We know when you bring up the fact that Luciano in the past has had, very questionable wrestling defense, and we know Sam Hughes is a dog. She's experienced, and she's definitely a fighter that will show you if you still got those weaknesses in your wrestling. If you do, she's gonna expose you. Got weaknesses in your cardio, she'll expose you. You got weaknesses in your wrestling, she'll expose you. Because she can outwork you, she can out wrestle you. If you got weaknesses in those particular areas. But yeah, Sam Hughes. So let me see which ones I gotta say live dogs so far. Dubin's a live dog. Cacareva's a live dog. Sam Hughes is a live dog. Walter Cortez Acosta versus Ryan Spann. Ryan Spann is a live dog. I think Ryan Spann is still at like not minus. I mean, Ryan Spann is like at a plus 200. So I think Ryan Spann is still at like plus 200. Let me see, where's Ryan Spann at? Ryan Spann, where you at? Now he had plus 1. I think at one point he was plus 200. But now he's at like plus 140, plus 150-ish. Where's FanDuel at? Plus 134, so still plus money. But yeah, Ryan Spann is very live in this one. Walter Cortez showed his ability to wrestle, but we clearly see that Robelis that Spain was a very one-dimensional fighter. Came in the game too late. What he tried to start fighting at like 36, 37. Well, not fighting, but try to transition to MMA at like 37 years old, and it just didn't work out. Walter Cortez was able to wrestle him up. I said college football player, but the former football player was able to wrestle him up. And I've not really been all that impressed with Walter Cortez Acosta's striking, to be honest. I feel like he just kind of spams overhands a lot. Don't really have a jab. A couple okay leg kicks. I feel like Ryan Spann is the much more developed fighter, and he clearly has more than twice the experience. I don't think the age is that difference between them. So Ryan Spann has way more experience between the two. They're the same exact age, like minus like a month or something, or plus a month. So they're the same exact age. Ryan Spann has had more than double the experience. Ryan Spann is 1 inch taller and has a 1 inch reach advantage. And definitely has a much more rounded out game. Ryan Spann his background is actually in BJJ. Like he developed his striking a lot, but his background is actually in BJJ. And I think Walter Cortez and Costa, especially in the past, has had very weak grappling. So Ryan Spann might be the one initiating grappling. You can't ever really trust on Ryan Spann too much, but I think he's a live dog here. I think he can pull it off. I think he can get it done in the distance. I think he can win an ugly decision, but I definitely think he's live. Would it be like a KO, sub, or decision? I feel like Acosta's probably more so KO decision. But yeah, Ryan Spann has more ways to win. Same age, he's taller, 1 inch reach advantage. He was never a small light heavyweight, and if he's fully committed to heavyweight, we might get a whole new beast. And then he'll be much faster. I think his power and strength will carry up to heavyweight. And again, he's only going to get hit harder more, with that extra weight on. And he's only going to be stronger with that extra weight on. So yeah, Ryan Spann is very much a live dog here. Su Young Yu versus AJ Cunningham. Su Young Yu should win this one. AJ Cunningham seems like a pretty well-rounded fighter, but it just seemed like he just does not have the X factor. There's a lot of guys in the game that, oh, he's striking solid, he's tall, he's young, he's this, he has seems to have the full package, but that's just about it. They have everything, but nothing particularly special about them. I feel like that's what AJ Cunningham. But maybe that'll be enough to upset Sung Young Yu. But I just feel like Sung Young Yu is just on a higher level. But yeah, I don't really see AJ Cunningham as a viable dog. By no means is he a dog to be slept on, but for me, to be honest, I don't see him as a viable dog. Again, there's definitely concerns about Sung Young Yu, and I'm not gonna be quick to try to fire on him and put him in parlays and do stuff. I might just avoid this fight altogether. But yeah, Sung Young Yu seems like the clear side, but is he a strong side? I don't feel that way. I feel like he's the side, but I don't feel like he's a strong side. So I definitely wouldn't be like quick to fire on him in any type of way. Okay. I would. Now DR is good. That's pretty much all. Like this is not a prediction video or what prediction live stream prediction video, but I feel like DR is strong in this one. He's not one of the people that I feel is in a fight where the dog should bite. I feel like he's a favorite that definitely should hit. Again, not lock. I'm not going no lock. Maybe high, maybe a good average. Lock is a little bit crazy, but DR is a very good average and maybe a good kind of like a low high confident pick here. But yeah, that's good enough to bet on. Su Young Yu kind of be a little bit hesitant, Damon Blackshear versus Cody Gibson. I think Cody Gibson is live. You know, he's long, he's well rounded, but the thing is, he's 37 years old, going there for 30-year-old Blackshear, who should be the stronger guy, younger guy, hit harder. Cody Gibson is pretty much, for the most part, decisionator. So Blackshear can win by knockout, he can win by sub, he can win by decision, whereas Gibson kind of just lined up for decision, especially given the fact that he's 37. I think he might have got to finish his last fight. I think he did, might have. Now he got a decision in his last fight. Pretty dominant, but still a decision nonetheless. And look at the guys that Cody Gibson has beat. Mostly guys his age. Like he's 37 years old. He beat a washed Chad Handlinger, who was always pretty much just a mid-tier fighter in the UFC. So a 38-year, he beat a guy 1 year older than him, and he beat Keller, another guy 1 year older than him. Those are his wins in the UFC since he returned. He's beaten other old guys, whereas Damon Blackshear is 30 years old, probably really just entering his prime. Yes, he got to drop the loss to Batista and Jackson, but the Batista fight could have easily went his way. In the Jackson fight, Jackson's another fighter who's on the come up, like who's been on the come up for a long time and starting to hit his stride. So he not losing to bad people. And I feel like Stanman is better than the people that better and younger than the people that Gibson is beating. But I think Gibson, with his volume and maybe his pacing, could be an issue for the Blackshear, but Blackshear should have that. As far as the betting side, I don't know. Maybe I won't bet that one, but I think Blackshear is the side, the clear side. But as far as is he a betting side, like should I bet on him? Still to be decided. At minus 360, I don't really like that number a whole lot. I would much rather than respect Gibson a little bit more and maybe get that at minus 200, but minus 360 might be a little bit out of the range for me as far as my confidence on that one. Yeah, he looked real good on the Contender Series. DR did. But let me see. So DR, Waldo. Well, that's not a pick. I'm just saying Damon. But let me just kind of pinpoint more dogs. So I'm not gonna focus on the ones that I'm picking. I'm just gonna focus on the dogs because that's what's really important. I don't need to go through every fight. So and I'm not saying I'm picking these dogs. Again, I'm gonna say it for the 100th time. I'm not saying I'm picking these dogs. You might see some of these guys and girls be picked when the full prediction video comes out, like the actual prediction video, the official prediction video come out. But as of right now, none of these are even me picking them. These aren't even unofficial picks. I'm not picking nobody right now. But yeah, Dubin is a streaming live. Capoeira is live. Well, I would say Capoeira is streaming live. Sam Hughes is live. Ryan Spann is very live. Kurt Hullabud is very live as well. It is really both of these guys are just so 500. Hullabaloo definitely has struggled to win in the UFC. I think he had like 2 prior stints in the UFC, and he wasn't able to get a win. Then he got this stint in the UFC after winning the Ultimate Fighter, and I think he won his first fight. Then he dropped like 2 fights or something like that. Then Hernandez had a terrible run at 45. He had up and downs at at lightweight. But yeah, Hullabaloo's definitely live here. I feel like he can hold his own on the feet with Hernandez, and if he can start to get some grappling going, that's another thing for him. And it's in comparable recent wins, Hullabaloo's recent win over Krzyzewski looked good. He went there with a big, young, strong fighter and was able to pull off a victory in that one. Definitely had rough patches. In the Hubbard fight, and also Kaden Krzyzewski, I think, is a fighting nerd. Maybe not one of the better ones, but he's on the team. And who else he beat? In Hubbard, he pretty much dominated Hubbard and subbed him in second, whereas Hernandez went to a split decision with Hubbard in his last fight. And I think Hullabaloo definitely is a better fighter than Hullabaloo's better than Hubbard. So it's definitely live. If Hubbard can take Hernandez to a split decision, Hullabaloo should be able to beat him. But again, this is a little bit of a reaching, but Hullabaloo definitely has all the tools to win this one. It's just a matter of who's going to show up. They both have all the tools. It's just a matter of who's going to show up. But given how dogs are doing this year, I think Hullabaloo is one of the liver dogs on the card. Is he top 2, top 3? Maybe not. Maybe he's like number 4. But he's definitely a live dog. Maybe he's like number 3. He might be number 3 best dog on this card. Maybe age is a little bit of an issue, because he's 38 years old. That's not a great age. Hernandez is 32, and he's not even just 32. It's the fact that he's 32 in experience. He's not like a 32-year-old who's like 10-0 in 5 fights. He's 15-8. He has had his ups and downs in the UFC. He has just as many wins as he has losses in the UFC, or something like that. But yeah, I like Hullabaloo dog value in this one. Why didn't I show his UFC record? 7-7, 2-5. But you can't really like that 2-5 a whole lot. Like, who has he lost to? He lost to Trey Ogden. Trey Ogden took him down and held him down. Thiago Moses was just better overall than him, but that was several years ago. Shane Burgos dropped Shane Burgos, and Shane Burgos armbarred him. Barcelos was just more well-rounded and better than him. Don't really know about these 2 losses, but and I really haven't seen Hernandez really show good takedowns and control time too much in fights. But we'll see who can better implement their game. But I think Hullabaloo's definitely live, and he showed it in his last fight. And another thing he could probably push Hernandez down the stretch. I'm like, Hernandez is a fader in fights, especially Hullabaloo can really make him work. So Hullabaloo's live, and I think, what's his line at? Let me see where his line's at. Where is Hullabaloo's line? Hullabaloo is plus 154. So that's pretty good value for underdog, plus 154. Or plus 160. That's pretty good value for underdog. Plus 140 for Span. But the biggest underdog that has a chance right now is Dubin, plus 330. That's like the one that jumps off the paper the most. It's not the best one, but value-wise, that jumps off the paper the most. But that's definitely one of the dogs I have my eye on. Is a potential dog to pick and bet on. But yeah, Hullabaloo's one of them. I feel very confident in Vallejos. Maybe might even be reaching with like an average confidence in the Vallejos fight. But Sungwoo Choi is definitely a live dog. I'm not going to pick him. I'm going to say that right now. I'm not picking Sungwoo Choi at all. But he does have to be respected. He's very much a live dog here. He has had his ups and downs. But he has been in the UFC for a good number of years now, probably like 4 or 5 years. He's has a full skill set, has experience, has the size, dangerous power. We don't really know where Vallejos' grappling is at like that right now. Hasn't really been tested a whole lot. And Sungwoo Choi has the power, he has experience, he has the grappling, to really test Vallejos in a lot of areas. So this would be a case that Vallejos still might not be ready, or maybe he'll never be ready. But given the fact that Sungwoo Choi has been knocked out in a lot of his recent fights, and Vallejos' striking is so crisp, especially his boxing is so good, and he's coming in with a lot of confidence, a lot of momentum. Yeah, Vallejos should definitely win that one, but Sungwoo Choi is live. Sungwoo Choi is definitely a live dog, but this is definitely a dog I'm not picking. So it's like 4 or 5 dogs I see that are live right now, but there are a couple I'm just not picking. I'm not picking Sungwoo Choi. I can see that he's a live dog. If he bites, he bites, but I'm not picking him. and I would definitely consider putting bets on Vallejo. Like, once the fight, by the time everything's said and done, I will have bets on Vallejo. So I will have bets on Vallejo's. Sumo Choi is live, but I'm going to fade him. I'm not picking him. I mean, I'm not respecting the dog value or the dog his chances of biting enough. I guess that one. Another one, Chitty and Jukwani is a live dog. Another one I'm probably not going to pick because I had a similar scenario already this year where I had a live dog. I picked him. He was doing what I thought he could do, but then automatically, I mean not automatically, but eventually, he found a way to lose. And it was kind of a similar scenario. Like, you got a guy in Zaleski who has been fighting at a higher level than Chitty and Chukwani pretty much their whole careers, and they're pretty much at the same level. Like, there's a chance that Chitty and Chukwani could win, especially if he's able to keep us on the feet, use his length. This could play out like the Randy Brown fight where Chukwani just uses his length and just outstrikes Zaleski to a close decision type fight like Randy Brown did. But the thing is, Chitty and Chukwani, he's 38 years old, 36 years old. Zaleski's, I'm all getting tongue tied. Eliza, or let me say, Dos Santos, Zaleski, whatever his name is. Because I know it used to be Eliza Zaleski Dos Santos. Now it's just Eliza Zaleski. But anyway. Yeah, anyway. Yeah, the thing that happened in the other fight was if they're both similar in age, like they're both like, that veteran age, like 36, 38, the guy that's like, they're the same age, the guy that has the greater experience that has been fighting at a higher level consistently is simply going to win those fights, unless it's like a case the guy was a champion. Those champions, they're going to be washed by like 36, 37 for the most part. So those guys will drop fights to like Chitty and Chukwani's and Eric Anders, but a young hungry guy, well, not a young hungry, but like a hungrier veteran that's like 36, 38, maybe even 39, 40, like the Angela Hills and the, Angela Hill, who was another older vet that's still out there working. I don't know, Dustin Poirier's, those people that never really achieved the pinnacle of the sport, they're still going to be trying to get better. Whereas the ones that were champion, now they're like 38 and they had lost the belt. Those guys typically lose these fights, like the Weidmans and whatnot. The Weidmans and I guess the Hudos, they'll drop those fights. Whereas the guys that, again, similar age, but not the same level of success, like they're still staying hungry, they're still going in the gym, they still got motivation. And when they match another guy that's in similar age, the guy that's there's really no youthful upside on either side. So the guy that has the greater competition level will typically prevail. Typically, like probably like 80% times, 8 out of 10 times. I don't think so. I mean, you really probably just find like, I would say 5, 6 underdogs, and you just bet them all the same value. You probably gonna come out. I'm not saying you're gonna come out big, but you probably gonna come out positive regardless. Because again, this year every card has been like 4 or 5 dogs biting. So dogs, like last 2 cards, I think pretty much half the fights went to dogs. Like last card was 5, and other card was 5, but it was like 11 fights. So it was like what, 5 of 11. Last fight was 50% dogs. So, and when you bet in dogs, you always pretty much in a better position because if they lose, you just lose your $100, or you lose your $50, or you lose your unit. But if they win, you could double your unit off one dog. So like versus when you're just betting all favorites, you gotta win like 3 of the 4 fights to even come out a little bit positive. Versus like you could bet 2 dogs, you lose one, but you just win one of those dogs. You pick 2 dogs, just one to win, you're gonna come out positive. You bet them at the same value. So, and again, this year has been very good for dogs, which could make it easy for bettors because the value is gonna be there, and you could try to play off the dog. So it has to give you a better chance to come out positive, if anything. So I think it's gonna be a good card for betting. Just gotta be smart about it. But yeah, very close fight. I might consider betting or picking Njokuani as a dog, but I don't know. I'm thinking I'm gonna avoid it because I've already kind of made that mistake already this year. And if it happens, it happens. Like if Njokuani wins and I pick him, I mean, if I pick Zaleski and Njokuani wins, it is what it is. But all it's gonna be is like me just recalibrating, seeing how I could approach the fights or approach different fights going forward, or approach each of these fighters going forward. But it seemed like decided Zaleski here. But I will always say in this fight, at least is a right now. After the fight, obviously different things can happen. Like Zaleski can run through Njokuani and then make it look easy potentially. But on paper right now, how I see this fight, I just feel like Njokuani is very live in this one. But it seems like Zaleski is just the side. But realistically, as far as this one right now, unless I'm picking Njokuani or betting Njokuani, it's just going to be a pick and no bet for me for this one. Yeah, he definitely should have considered Ignacio. But again, on paper, Turner was live. On paper, he definitely was very live. But yeah, that's how thing is. Like you could feel someone live, and then they come out or they don't be live. Or you can feel this is a good, strong thing. But at the end of the day, what mattered is you made your bet and it came on top. Whether you won a little bit of money or lost a little bit of money, well, whether it was this like you earned a little bit or could have earned a little bit or you didn't earn a little bit more or a lot of bit more, at the end of the day, it's about winning and being consistent. So you made a good parlay, had good value on it, and it hit. So that's good. Because that's been cases where you get a little bit greedy, bet and try to make a too long of a parlay, and then you lose just by one. That one that you should have added in the first place. Vettori versus Dolidze, that's another dog that's live. Dolidze, the first fight was extremely close. Dolidze, even though he's older, he has been putting in much more work than Vettori is of late. Vettori hasn't fought in like 2 years. He took a brutal beating from Jared Cannonier in his last fight. Started off okay and then just got beat brutally for 4 rounds to a decision loss. Whereas Dolidze, I think he's like on 2-fight winning streak across 2 different weight classes. So I think, won a fight at middleweight. Now he won a fight at light heavyweight. He came in on short notice and fought. Anthony Smith beat him. Then he came back down to 185 and he beat Holland. I believe that's what happened. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. So Dolidze is on a good streak right now. He's been an active one. Vettori hasn't fought in 2 years and looked absolutely terrible in his last fight. His chin still look amazing, but even in their first fight was very close. So Dolidze let's see what Dolidze. I think Dolidze, he's not a big underdog, but plus 120, he's a dog that might stay a dog. Because Vittori's at minus 142. I don't feel like it's going to shift that big that Dolidze is going to be the favorite. But right now, Dolidze is the underdog, and I think he should stay the underdog. And given his momentum and the fact that the first fight was so close, and many people feel like he was robbed in the first fight. I picked Vettori, so I got that one right at the time. But now I feel like momentum is definitely on Dolidze's side, despite him being an older fighter. But the Caucasus, how you say it, the Caucasus fighters, the Caucasus Mountains, and the Caucasus region fighters are doing very well right now. Dolidze is one of them. He's very close to a lot of the Georgian fighters, so he's only going to be motivated by that. First fight was very close between them. A lot of people feel like Dolidze won. And then Dolidze has been more active. He's been the one making improvements. I really haven't seen Vettori improve. If anything, feel like Vettori has declined. He is the younger fighter. He is roughly supposed to be in his prime right now. I think he's like 31 years old. But who knows? Sometimes you come in the game young, and then you fizzle out. So even though Vettori's only like 31, 32, he might have kind of fizzled out. But nonetheless, I don't think it's gonna be an easy fight. But I think Dolidze might be the side here on the betting side, and he is a dog. So let me kind of retract it again. Let me kind of. All right, let me. Now I'm gonna kind of run through the dogs again that are live. Again, not my actual picks yet, but the dogs that are live. Dubin is live. She's at like plus 300, the biggest dog that on the card. She's 6-0 versus 3-2 fighter, who definitely has fought better competition. Definitely has looked better, a lot better. But Dubin is a wild card. We haven't really seen her fight much. Her contender series fight, she knocked her opponent out in like a minute, so you really didn't see how she fought. You got to see some of her fights outside of UFC. Didn't look all that great, but she won them nonetheless. But again, you don't really have that much tape on her. And now she has had her chance to, get some better coaching, get better opportunities, get access to the UFC PI. So she could come in here and be a whole different beast. And the fact that Judice, who's like 0-2 in the UFC, is a big favorite, one of the biggest favorites on the card, is just ridiculous. So that just have a feeling like people gonna pick Judy and bet on her, and they're gonna feel real stupid after. Despite that, like on paper, it's like, well, not on paper, but based off tape, she looks a lot better. But Dubin, like, there's not really much tape on Dubin, so there's like, you should not be going that hard on a fighter who's 3-2, 0-2 in the UFC, and she's fighting a fighter who is very much a question mark still. What's so good about Daniel Barber is the dude's like 40 years old and one dimensional. Lima is 26, better striker, better grappler, from a much stronger region in MMA. I feel like Barber is one of the weakest dogs on the card. And all he did was beat Victor Altamirano, who's not a very good fighter. But yeah, Dubin's very live. So let me go back to it. Dubin's live, and the value on her is crazy. Priscilla Capoeira is live. They're literally pretty much the same exact fighter. And Capoeira is actually the taller fighter despite coming up from 125 to 135. Nunes is only 5'2". So Capoeira is very live. So pretty much same fighters. On paper, 50-50 fight. It seems like you should lean the dog in a 50-50 fight. Capoeira has come off some damage. But he, again, like he struck with other fighters. Like he strikes when he wants to, he grapples when he wants to. And again, he's a good, solid, well-rounded fighter who's still young and hasn't even really entered his prime, but already a very elite fighter, has fought elite competition and beat elite competition. Barres hasn't really even fought elite competition, but he has already lost 6 times. And he's like 38 years old and one-dimensional. And I haven't really seen no great grappling defense from him, like whole, particularly great grappling defense. So, but yeah, the good dogs right now on paper: Dubin, Capoeira, Hughes, Ryan Spann, Kurt Helleba. But that 38-year-old age is definitely a question mark. That 2-5 UFC record, definitely a big red flag. But I feel like Kurt Helleba is very live here. Suwon Choi is a bit live, but definitely a dog I'm not picking. Zaleski, well, Zaleski's not the dog, but Njokuani is a live dog. But I'm not gonna say I'm not picking him, but most likely I'm not gonna pick him. Dolidze, definitely a dog I can see myself picking. So how many dogs am I actually feel like I could pick? I can see myself picking. I can feel myself picking. I can feel myself picking Dubin. Capoeira definitely. Can see that. Probably will be one of my dogs. Capoeira probably. That's 2. Hughes probably not. Ryan Spann, yeah. That's like 3. Helleba, might just roll with it, 4. Then Dolidze, that's 5. Then I might consider, like, well, I'm not considering him. Maybe, so I seemingly have my 5. Seemingly have my 5. Seemingly. Then what other ones kind of consider, like maybe a 6-1. I wouldn't go as far as 7, but maybe a 6-1. Maybe Njokuani. Maybe Sam Hughes. So maybe Njokuani or Sam Hughes might be another considerable dog. But yeah. So like 1, Dubin. 2, Capoeira. 3, Spann. 4, Helleba. And 5, Dolidze. But yeah, if y'all in the chat and y'all ears are open and your fingers are available, what dogs y'all feel like you guys like for this card? Like, if any dogs. Because you know they're going to bite. They've been biting this whole year, like at a crazy rate, like unseen before, crazy rate of dogs biting. So some dogs going to bite. A lot of them going to bite again this card. And this card is definitely shaping up to be a fight card where, once again, a lot of dogs are going to bite. You got 3-2 fighters who are like 5-1 favorites and stuff. Let's see who has Josiane Nunes lost to. Who she lose to? Josie and Nunes lost to. She's on 2-fight losing streaks. They both like on 2-fight losing streaks. Yep. But she's getting stopped. But again, it's by grappling. Jasmine Jazovic is one of the best grapplers in women's MMA right now. I mean, it's always kind of, but it's not just betting on favorite. Like, you got to bet on the good favorites. So you just bet on any favorite, then you're going to look goofy. But, you got to bet on the good favorites. Like, the good favorites. Because you start to bet on any favorite, that's when you start to get messed up. You got to pick the ones that are truly strong. Yeah. Miranda Maverick. Solid grappler. But yeah, the skill level of these grapplers that she's fighting versus the grappler that Nunes fighting just are night and day. Like, Jasmine Jazovic is, the people of Caguera's fighting are much better. Like, Maverick's a very high level wrestler, at least in her division. And I don't really feel like the fighters that Nunes fought, who she fought? Chelsea Chandler, pretty mediocre fighter. Cavalcanti, a striker. What did B. Malecki do? Had like one good winner. Matter of fact, B. Malecki only has two. She's only 2-1. I know she had a little kickboxing career. She has a good win over Veronica Hardy and a win over Duda Santa. Oh, this isn't the one that started doing prostitution right here. Duda Santana. I don't know who would pay for her to be a prostitute. That's a very peculiar taste. If you are hiring her to be a prostitute, very peculiar taste. But yeah. And part of how she beat Veronica Hardy at the time was Veronica Hardy was like not in her actual weight class. Hardy was just too small. But Hardy today is much better. In at her actual weight class. But other than that, who's B. Malecki? Who is B? No. Jose Nunes, B. Malecki. And she beat Ramona. That chick already cut. She's cut, I believe. Zara Farm was not a very good fighter, so her level of competition she beat in is not very good. She beat B. Malecki, who retired after losing to her. Ramona Pasquale, who I don't think picked up a single win in the UFC. Went 0-4, well 0-3, and now is 0-4 in her last 4 fights. Zara Farn, which got her, she had some decent wins. Shauna Dobson, not a scrub. Shauna Dobson was a solid veteran. Mazzani, solid enough veteran. Jian Kim Jian Kim had her moment. Jian Kim not a bad fighter. Ariane Lipsky, former KSW champion, and she didn't beat her by wrestling. She knocked her out, so that's a big feather in her cap to knock out Lipsky. I don't think anyone has ever just went out there and just straight up knocked Lipsky out on the feet. So level competition definitely has been better for Capoeira, and she'll be 5 inches taller, what is she 5'6", 5'7"? She is 5'7" versus 5'2", so she's 5 inches taller. And a more technical fighter, more experienced for better competition, beat better competition. So definitely a live dog there. So Sam Hughes really didn't even win her last fight, but she did still rallied in that fight, so that's what she does. Luciano got worried about that, but I feel like rallying is not an issue for Luciano. I feel like the issue for Luciano is can she defend the takedown? So if she could defend the takedown, she's the better striker. See, the younger fighter, she has that long build, she has great cardio. It's her wrestling truly improved. So I can't really lean to Sam Hughes in this one. I think Luciano has made those patches, and I think she's only gonna get even better at defending takedowns. I don't even feel like Sam Hughes is a phenomenal wrestler. I just feel like she has good pacing. So if you have good initial takedown defense, and you have the cardio to push for 15 minutes, I think you should be able to beat her pretty, not gonna say dominantly, but clear enough. It shouldn't be no split decision type fight. I feel like it should be a clear unanimous decision, maybe a 29-28, if not a 30-27. Now I already went over this fight between Ryan Spann versus Walter Cortez Acosta. Spann, even though he's coming up from light heavyweight, and I think last thing he did, he got a win over OSP. So he was on a 3-fight losing streak, but he's on a winning streak now with a 1-fight winning streak. They're the same exact age. Um, Ryan Span's already a big body, light heavyweight, so he probably come in here at like 245, 250. If he wanted to, he could add on more mass. So they're gonna be the same height, pretty much the same size. Um, Ryan Span's gonna have a 1 inch height advantage and a 1 inch reach advantage, and a whole lot of experience on him. I think he's a BJJ black belt as well. Whereas and Cortez Acosta has his background is being a mediocre boxer. Barely got a jab, got a telegraphed overhand, and he likes to move his hips. So yeah, Ryan Spann definitely one of the live dogs on the card. But yeah, that's about it. I went through all them. I went through all of them multiple times, and I'll say it one last time before I say goodbye for tonight. Close to an hour time, but I'm close enough. So, Dubin, Capoeira, Span, Hulaba, and Dolidze. So that's like the five. And then I might switch some of those around. Might pick some of the different ones, but I feel like for the most of those five are probably gonna be the dogs I'll have for the card for the most part. There's always things subject to change, but unless I get something, a good reason to not pick a dog. Yeah, that's a strong parlay. Musasa and DR, that's a strong parlay. And I feel like maybe a stronger dog of the dogs that are on the card, maybe a Capoeira might be a good addition. Maybe Ryan Span. Hullabuck could be if Hullabuck was like 32, he'll be a good addition. I think he's a good dog, but he's very risky, being the fact that he's 38 and very inconsistent in 2-5 in the UFC overall. But Ryan Span and Capoeira definitely, I feel like, two of the stronger dogs on the card. The value on Dubin is crazy, but at the end of the day, she's still very much a question mark. She's still a question mark, so you can't really say, oh, she has shown great takedown defense, or her power is really crazy, or she's this, she's that. So you really can't even say nothing. You can't say nothing too bad about her. You can't say nothing too good about her just yet. She's still very much a question mark. But yeah, two best dogs probably are literally Ryan Span and Capoeira right now, as far as what I'm saying. Yeah, Vettori is hard to finish. It might be time, but then again, he's only 31, so probably his chin probably will hold up again, and on the ground he should probably hold up as well. It might even be a split decision. But yeah, this one most likely go to distance. Dolidze don't really get finished. Well, has Dolidze ever been finished? I don't think he went to decision. Decision here, decision there, decision there. I barely even seen Dolidze hurt. I think in Imava fight, that was like the only fight he was hurt in. Other than that, you really don't see him hurt too much. So yeah, decision in that one is definitely good. But yeah, those have been my kind of first look dogs of the card and my first look analysis. Thanks to everyone that tuned in. Thanks to everyone that watched. Thanks to everyone that will watch later on. But this has been a live stream. I have officially went the whole week going live, and I'm definitely looking to mix up the lives as well. Definitely looking to try to get into Twitch as well. But first, I gotta get this done and get used to it here. Get my test runs, get my test runs in on here. Get a strategy, get a formula, build a consistency. Next week, I'm not going every single day. I might do 3 times. I'm gonna do the live fight companion. I'm gonna do maybe a pre-fight analysis type thing. Then maybe like a day where I do reactions and stuff like I did. What was it, like Friday or something? So I'm probably do stuff like that. So probably like 3 this coming week. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna try to look to mix it up and do different things in coming weeks. But with the live streams and all. But again, this has been a live stream. Thanks for tuning in. And peace out. Catch y'all